Welcome to Absolutely Marvel in DC. My name's Benny, that is Sal, and that is Dylan. And today we're going to talk about the first episode of Superman that aired yesterday. I've got a few interesting Easter eggs pulled up. We've got obviously the ending to discuss, and we have a non-CW fan here to get his opinions. Why don't we take it up with that? I watch all the CW shows for the most part. Dylan, I believe you do as well, right?
Yeah, I watch, I think I've seen all of the CW DC stuff except for most of Black Lightning, and also I watch a lot of other CW trash, so, like, I'm very familiar with their writing practices. Like, I'm rewatching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend right now.
I mean, I'm a Supernatural fan. I've watched the Riverdale. I know exactly what you're talking about. The CW has a tendency to create a plot or characters and just carbon copy them over and over and over. And that's pretty much how it works. So that being said, since you and I are more familiar with it, Sal, you have finally been convinced to check out a CW show.
Yeah, coincidentally, there's also a show that we're making that we're using to talk about it. So that was kind of the biggest motivator for me. But I've honestly, the CW marketing team really did a nice job of goading me into it by releasing that little clip, that little just 2-second clip of Superman kind of homaging Action Comics #1, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like they're really doing their research. I kind of want to check this out. And I liked Tyler Hoechlin as Superman in the YouTube clips of Crisis that I watched instead of watching that whole thing. And I hear I was all the better for it.
Have you seen any of Tyler Hoechlin's Superman before this? Like fully?
No.
Okay, interesting.
No. I've seen him interact with characters, and I've seen him, like, be Superman. And I saw him in Road to Perdition, in which I loved him.
Cool. I kind of agree. He is more the traditional comic book Superman. I love Henry Cavill as Superman, but that is like a different universe version. He looks the part, but he's definitely a lot moodier. Tyler does, like, the hopeful, I'm here to help everyone Superman. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. He is out of. I guess we could get into, like, you know, what our overall opinions of this pilot were. Just to start it off, I didn't really like it, but his performance as Superman and how they wrote him is, like, the saving grace for this show, I think. Everything else kind of made me upset, but
on the flip side, I actually really enjoyed the episode. The only thing I found a little hokey was pretty much every child actor. I don't know if they're considered childs because they're all like 15, but every single one of them, you could be like Natalie. I was watching it with my wife, and she was like, "Is it just me, or is the kid that plays Jordan ruining this for me?" And I'm like, I mean, you can tell it's the CW budget on actors. Like they couldn't exactly get.
I mean, he's also playing like he's playing a one-dimensional like, oh, I bet you wouldn't expect me to get powers. Like I'm really dark and sad. Like,
yeah, like no.
Okay.
I expected that the second that Jonathan was like the perfect one. Like obviously, either Jordan's gonna be a villain or he's gonna be the one with powers.
Or both. Like,
or they're both
you'll
gonna
make
have powers.
No, they'll make Jonathan the villain because like you don't expect it because like that was the board meeting. The whole you could hear the board meeting while watching this where they were like, oh my god, he's gonna have, well, in the comics apparently, oh, we got a nerd here, but apparently in the comics he has a son. Okay, we'll call him Jonathan. He'll be like the perfect one, but then we'll have one of our own, and this will be like the cool, like kind of like dark one. And what if the one that shouldn't have the powers, according to like all the, you know,
the lore.
Superman fanboys, that'll be the one that has powers. And it's like, uh-oh. And then the perfect like prissy boy, the quarterback,
yeah,
he'll
seriously?
have no powers, and he'll be the villain, and he'll be like turned evil by his brother's like superiority. Like, ugh.
I
get out of here.
I agree with you. I felt like the kids, because they were obviously, once they introduced both of them, the focus was going to be on the kids learning to become the powers, becoming hero, supervillain, all this kind of stuff. And you could tell they're going to become like, well, Jonathan will learn later on he has powers, but he'll be resentful and he'll become the villain.
Yep.
Like, it's probably going to follow that beat for beat, and the end of season 1 is probably going to be a battle against this new villain, and then the two boys going at it. Like we'll have like the two plots happening side by side. Maybe even this new Lex Luthor is going to meet Jonathan and be like, "You could be strong like your brother. I conveniently have a battle suit in the size of a 15-year-old boy."
Yeah, I would see that happening.
I could see that.
It's ironic that the show called Superman and Lois is about two boys.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say. Is like my problems with the show really kind of just came down to the kids. Like my main issue is I think in terms of acting, everyone did a good enough job with what they were given, but what they were given was not great.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a paint by numbers. Like this script clearly wrote itself in a boardroom, like Sal said. And it's,
they turned it over to the CW computer, and it churned out the lines. And
that's exactly what it was.
Just like when that girl showed up, and they were all like, "Oh, Natalie was like, okay, so both boys are gonna like the girl." I'm like, or she's gonna secretly have a boyfriend.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
It's revolutionary.
It's almost like two people who've watched every CW show can figure out exactly what's going to happen in this CW show.
Well, that's the weird thing is, like, they kept, I don't know, because they kept telegraphing stuff, and usually the CW shows, like, they make up for their predictable and bad writing with, like, fun scenes or, like, fun characters, but they just don't here. Like,
right. No one's fun here.
The only fun thing is Superman in that one scene where he's like, where it's doing the Action Comics like #1 thing. If that was the whole show, beautiful, perfect.
Oh, the intro where he's explaining and he saves the kid, and the kid's like, nice great outfit, and he's like, my mom made it. I was like, this is Superman. I feel like I'm watching a Superman show. And then he flies home and he's like, and these are my two boys. Jonathan's perfect, and this one has social anxiety. Like, what? Like, that's how we're going to introduce the kids?
When they said, when his narration was like he was diagnosed with, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. He's going to have like some kind of serious like mental health issue that's going to like be debilitating and is going to hurt him when he eventually gets powers or something. It was just social anxiety. It's like, what? Sure, everyone has that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I found that hilarious about that, too, because, like, I found it weird that, like, they chose social anxiety. Okay, so it's a real-world problem, yes, but, like, the way they were hyping it up, and he also has, you're like, oh, it's going to be a problem for his power development, and the way, it's good, that he'll be the one to get the powers, and that's going to be, like, the weird situation, because he's got to deal with that at the same time. But it just boiled down to nothing. The only thing that even came out of it was later on was, like, oh, I didn't have to go to psychiatrist, maybe? Like, that's what we got from this reveal?
The whole thing, like, reeked of that. I don't know if you guys have... I've never seen Riverdale, but I've seen some of the really bad scenes from it.
I've seen the really bad scenes from it.
my favorite scene from Riverdale is the one where I think it's Jughead who's like, I'm weird. I'm crazy. You don't want to mess with me.
Yeah.
That's kind of how, like, I have social anxiety. I'm off the wall. It's like, bro, everyone has that. And
exactly.
If you don't, you're very lucky.
Right.
And I love how they portrayed Jonathan counter to that. Jonathan was just kind of like, oh, I'm still a little clumsy because I can't be perfect because that wouldn't blend into the CW blender. But I'm pretty confident in everything I do.
Jonathan, I felt like, had two writers because half the time he was being written as like as a himbo where he's like, I'm stupid and I'm perfect, but I still love my brother and everyone around me. And then the other half of the time he's bullying Jordan. And it's like,
I know.
Lane!
Yeah, that bullying
interesting
thing.
One. Make him a himbo.
Every time the bullying came out, I was like, this is so counter to what you just established 10 seconds ago this character is.
Yes.
And even like Superman, when he's looking at him, he's like, what are you doing? Like, he has a kind of a reaction like, why are you doing that? Like, that's not in the script. It's like the actor was like, no, I gotta have more to do. There's no bully in this show.
Jonathan's the one with the issues.
Yeah, right?
He's the one who should go to therapy. He's the one with BPD or something.
Seriously. For me, my issue, actually, the weakest part, because I was like, these kids are, they're the teenagers. They're the stars of the show, obviously. Superman is like the set. Like, Superman is the setting. It's Superman, what? We don't have to try. Just copy whatever the nerds say we should do. But with the kids are the juice. With this, my problem was Lois. She has virtually no agency in the show.
Yep.
And the show is 50% her title. Like,
Well,
it's Superman and Lois, and she's like, like when he's like, hey, I think my dead mom wants us to take over her farm. And she didn't say this ever or articulate it, but I am inferring it, and I think I'm gonna use that to completely uproot our lives.
Yeah.
And you could see on her face, she's like, that's kind of messed up that you're clearly gonna make me do this. Like, she does not want to do it. And, like, that could be a source of drama, but it felt more like a source of she needs to be on board because she needs to be in the show.
yeah, I found it really weird and interesting because exactly what you said. Like, Clark gets fired in the opening. Then he goes out there and he has this vibe that his mom wanted him to move out there. And I'm just like, doesn't Lois still have her job? Isn't she still have all her friends in Metropolis? Like, isn't that... Yeah, like, it reminds me almost of the Tomasi run when they moved over there, but she didn't have her job. But now it's just like they're just like, Lois, she's just a set piece. Just like Superman, we got to have Superman. Yeah. We got to have the kids in it because it's CW. And Lois is just there because the name's recognizable. Yeah. Like,
I literally, they could kill her at the end of this and be like, it's called Superman Family. Because she could get in the way of it.
The one thing that I was like, oh, maybe they're doing something cool. I thought they were going to kill Superman at the end of the episode for like 1 second. For 1 second, I was like, do that. Because then everyone's going to be angry. All the little nerds will be pissed off. But you have an interesting show on your hands now.
You would.
Because now you've got this kid who just lost his dad and also just found out he has superpowers.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I thought he was going to have it stuck in him forever and that he was going to be nerfed.
That would be interesting.
That would be more
CW.
That would be more CW.
Right? Like, they're like, we can half the budget on Superman effects if he's like, he can only be Superman like 2 minutes per episode. And it's like, sad, like, because you want Superman in your Superman show, but also we want to save money on our teen drama show using licensed characters.
Right.
This is why I don't watch CW shows, because I'm like, this is the thing. Like,
surprisingly, despite like what this show looks like, because they did clearly put a little bit more budget into.
I wanted to mention that
show.
The cinematography, the coloring, all that stuff looked 10 times better than any other CW show. Even the sets, you could tell they put a little bit more budget into. Like, we didn't get the de facto base set. And that was that.
I think this season is only 5 episodes, and I think that is why that there's a lot more put into it. Okay. I'm not sure on that, but I from what I understand, it's a very short season. But what was I gonna say? Oh, surprisingly, like in terms of writing, this one feels more like a CW show than the other ones do. Like, it feels like Riverdale meets Superman, as opposed to like The Flash just feels like a Flash show, but also sometimes they have to shove like Barry and Iris drama in there because it's on the CW.
Right.
Like, this one's more egregious to me. I don't know.
This is
if
15 episodes.
Anyone else feels like that? It's 15? Okay.
Yeah.
So still shorter season.
Yeah. I felt this was less like the Arrowverse shows than any other of, like, I've seen at least 3 or 4 episodes of Arrow. I've seen 2 episodes of The Flash. Like, I've seen your shows. I've watched Supergirl. Like, I know what these shows look and seem like.
Right.
And this felt more like they were trying to do something. Like, it was almost like someone came in afterwards and was like, you forgot all the teen drama, and then like crammed that in here.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, all the Superman stuff felt like a Superman show. Like, it felt like a show about Superman, or like a little movie, and I was like, that's kind of what I want to watch. Like, why can't you just make movies of the week or something? Like, why does it have to be about this? I mean, that's what they're selling, and I get it. But it felt more like a thing, like something different, something a little different than your standard CW show.
It reminded me of the season 1 of Supergirl, like the first season. Because I used to say I liked Supergirl when she was Supergirl, but they always tried to throw in like half the show had to be Ally McBeal with Cat Grant back in that day. It was like a half and half, and I'd always joke and be like, I loved half the episode. The other half I was snoozing on.
Yeah.
The last like 10 minutes of this episode where it's just really poorly edited, cutting between Superman confronting Doom Guy and
Doom Guy.
and the bonfire scene is like,
Yes.
did they just not plan this? Like, it's just
for me,
really
I think that was
badly
just
paced.
I think they thought that they were being creative. I think they were like, it's
Yeah.
going to punctuate the drama. Like, you're worried about Superman, but you're worried about the kids. Which one are you going to be more worried about? And it's like,
Neither.
I'm neither.
Do we want to talk about Doom Guy?
Let's
Doom
wrap
Guy.
up because the ending we have to give it. So generally, I think that the end. Well, Doom Guy is literally 100% Doom Guy.
Doom Guy,
Like,
yeah.
Like they didn't even try. They're just like, we like that suit. let's just make that. Like,
Yeah.
do they have a copyright on the suit? Well, yeah, but only if it's green. Make it black,
Right.
and we're good.
Give him a pass.
I wonder if they went to like a cosplay store and they're just like spray painting the actual Doom Guy suit.
God, what if it was Doom Guy? This would
That'd be
be
awesome.
the best show on the planet if it actually was Doom Guy.
If it was Superman versus
Doom Guy.
Doom,
Unfortunately,
I'd be
it's not.
100%.
That'd be great.
I'd send the money. I'd be like, yeah,
Yes.
thank you for this.
Make that.
But it's so at the ending of that we get the reveal that we have a black Lex Luthor, which was kind of surprising to me because as you and I were discussing, Sal, I think when we mentioned this yesterday in the other podcast, John Cryer is still in the universe, like he's still
Right.
there. There's still a Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's the other
I
weird
don't think
thing
it's
that I
Lex.
feel like we should mention
Yeah.
is the whole connection to the
Incongruities.
rest of the universe.
Yeah.
Is that-
Yeah, where's Supergirl?
well,
I don't know what the time because he didn't because the last time
She's
we
not in the
saw
flashback.
him, no, and the last time we saw this Superman was when he and Lois did go off and they said we want to try to have kids. So does that mean this
Yeah.
takes place 14 years after that?
there's no
I guess.
confirmation.
Or-
The current running theory
Yeah, right,
is that
it'd
it
have to
is
be.
in the same timeline. And the current running theory is that this Lex Luthor is from Infinite Crisis at Infinite Earths, where they merged everything, and he's just one of the Lex Luthors remaining. And the theory is that he is Lex Luthor because they called him Captain Luthor, so it's going to be like this different guy.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think he's like a future warrior or something. Like that he's from the future and he's like a descendant of Lex Luthor's of some kind.
He's the
Okay.
Doom
You know,
guy.
indoctrinated by
Yeah.
the Doom guy is like from maybe that dark future that you'd see from the Totality, where it's like I come from a future where Lex Luthor's dead, but and I'm a descendant of his, but we worship him like a god because he conquered Superman, and I'm gonna help facilitate that a little faster, get Lex Luthor around so that I can talk to him and stuff.
That'd be cool,
I don't know. I
guess.
yeah.
What I'm really
I
hoping
don't
that they're
care.
going to do is
I'm not interested in any of it, so I'm like,
That's
do
fair.
whatever you want to do. Knock yourselves out.
I'm really just hoping that they're going to bring back John Cryer at some point. Like they're going to, because we just need
Great.
something that establishes in the same world. As you bring back the actual Lex Luthor that's been around, meet this Doom guy Lex Luthor, and that, you know what I mean? Like that, I think that could
Yeah.
be interesting. It like Lex shows back up with like the mentality of like, no, I'm the villain. Only I get to beat Superman. So they have to team up, John Cryer and Tyler Hoechlin, Superman, fighting
Yeah.
against this new Doom guy, Lex Luthor. I think that'd be kind of a cool twist to throw into the ending. But who knows where this timeline is? Maybe they left.
Yeah.
Instead of 14 years passing, they went into like a hyperbolic time chamber. I don't.
Right. Well, they could be in another reality.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, because
sorry.
it seems they didn't show. You can't read my mind. You don't know what. They don't like make an effort to show that time has passed. Like 14 years isn't gonna change too much. But like, if this is just definitively 14 years in the future, I feel like they would have shown something to illustrate that.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't seem like a lot more would have changed, I feel, from the last time we saw them on the farm to now, if 14 years actually had passed. So my headcanon was just like, oh, it's an alternate reality or it's disconnected in some way. But I'm sure they just didn't even think about these questions that we're asking.
Nope.
And
I think this is in the same timeline, but I think they're actually making a conscious effort to kind of separate it. I feel like the Arrowverse got to a point where everything was so connected, so intertwined, that it kind of created a problem for them as shows ended. Because then you hear, the marketing's like, Arrow's ending. Oh, the Arrowverse is ending. No. Arrow's ending. No. The Arrowverse is ending. No. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the CW is right now. Like, the interconnectivity worked great until things like a pandemic happened and their shows started ending.
Right. I think also with like the whole Arrowverse connection, The Flash starts up next week. So I think by the time this show ends, like Superman and Lois season 1 ends, people will be used to the idea of the Arrowverse existing again. So I think like, you know, that connection being drip fed makes a lot of sense, like over the course of the season. Because it has been gone for a while, Arrowverse stuff.
Right. I would expect Superman to show up in more Arrowverse shows than the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, and if they do
definitely.
that, they can link them, but they could also keep him separate. You know, like
exactly.
This show is over here, but look, he's in them, so he's a part of it. You know,
right?
Well, he could be everywhere. It's like, just don't deal with my children. You know, that's about that.
That's this show. Unless they get a suit, then they can show up in other shows. Once they become a superhero.
That's right.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed us discussing the first episode of Superman and Lois based upon what we've seen. Will all three of us be watching it again next week, or will this be a solo Benny discussion?
I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably not gonna watch it I might watch it I might take me a day or two, but if we're filming weekly discussions, then I'll have to. But
Sounds like I bow out of this one.
Whoa, okay.
That's fair.
All right, well, hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let us know your thoughts on the first episode of Superman and Lois in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on notifications because we're bringing you content about every Marvel and DC show that exists out there and the movies. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time right here.